So now we're going to talk a little bit about Enron. Enron is one of those great cases that illustrate the failures of corporate governance. It's a case that I vaguely remember, I believe it was towards the end of my high school years, at the risk of dating myself. Enron is a great example also of you can have the best ethics statements anywhere, because Enron did. It was frequently nominated as a company that had outstanding ethics policies, yet not even remotely begin to live those ethics policies. People had a lot of faith in Enron, and I mean that in terms of the public, their competitors, their investors. But the government regularly started uncovering all sorts of corporate governance transgressions. They were using all sorts of weird accounting gimmicks to inflate sales and profits. They were hiding their debt through these weird spin-off companies. They were concealing their excessive CEO perks. We're going to talk about perks a little bit later in this module. And they were using strange footnotes to conceal perks and compensations of their managers. So they basically were creative accountants, very creative with their financial practices, and then they decided to shred as many documents as they could to destroy any sort of incriminating records. Now their board of directors had a special investigative committee that did not place all the blame of Enron's failure on its directors, but it did accuse the board of having some sort of duty to exercise responsibility over Enron and failing to exercise that responsibility. And another part that contributed to Enron's demise was not just the fact that the board of directors was not exercising the oversight over the company, but also the fact that the company culture encourages kind of fraudulent behavior. And of course, finally in 2006, after quite a long legal road, the chairman of the board and CEO, the chairman of the board, Kenneth Lay, and of course the CEO, Jeff Skilling, were found guilty of conspiracy and fraud. Of course, one of the things that stemmed out from the Enron scandal was the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. And the Sarbanes-Oxley Act says that management is responsible for accurate financial reporting, and furthermore, it gives additional duties and powers to the board through audit committees. So it makes sure that on every board of directors there's a 5-member oversight board that has authority over the practices of accounting firms. Furthermore, it prescribes different rules to improve auditing. It requires the CEO and the CFO to sign and certify the accuracy of annual and quarterly financial statements. So if there's any bizarre accounting gimmicks on there, the CEO and the CFO are held liable for that. And there are criminal penalties for violating the Sarbanes-Oxley provisions. We also have Lehman Brothers. Of course, Lehman Brothers was originally a cotton firm, started in 1850, and it grew into the country's 4th largest investment bank. And it was led by this guy named Richard Fuld, who was impatient, intimidating, just a nasty guy. Basically kept his people on their toes. I think there was one story where he was trying to get the attention of one of his managers, so he took his hand and swept everything off the guy's desk to get his attention. He was pretty vicious. And so the way he decided to keep share prices rising was to make Lehman Brothers grow faster. They started borrowing lots of money from banks and financial markets until the point where Lehman Brothers went bankruptcy. And this caused a lot of the panic on the financial markets that started around 2008. And during the period of bankruptcy, their board of directors had met 8 times, and its members earned up to $300,000. The management, the CEO, and the board made serious errors in judgment. Of course, one of the acts that stemmed from Lehman Brothers, of course, was the Dodd-Frank Act. And I'll talk a little bit, those of you that are taking the class with me, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we meet up. So in our next video, we will talk about the different roles and responsibilities and the composition of board of directors. Should be an interesting video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then.